Okay, so here's something that happens way more than people realize. A luxury brand quietly tweaks a formula you've been loyal to for years, doesn't announce it, doesn't warn you, and then you're standing there wondering why your $40 product suddenly feels different, and it's not just in your head. This isn't some rare one-off thing either. It's honestly a pattern across the entire industry. Brands cut costs, chase trends, or try to fix one problem and accidentally break something else, and the customers who've been buying the same product for a decade are usually the first ones to notice. So today we're going through 8 luxury makeup products that got reformulated, and according to a genuinely huge wave of documented complaints across beauty forums, review sites, and the beauty press, a lot of longtime fans think the new version just isn't it anymore. Let's get into it. Number 8, Too Faced Better Than Sex Mascara. Picture this, you've been buying the same tube of Better Than Sex mascara for years. It built its whole reputation on that dramatic, voluminous, hourglass brush lash look, running around $27, and it became one of the best-selling mascaras of the last decade, almost entirely off word of mouth. Over the years, though, Too Faced has adjusted the formula and brush design more than once, and a chunk of longtime users online have reported the newer versions feeling thicker or clumpier compared to what they remember, with some saying it dries out faster in the tube than earlier formulas used to. 2. Faced is owned by Estée Lauder, which paid roughly $1.45 billion for the brand back in 2016, and when a product this big sits inside a portfolio, that size formula tweaks often come down to cost or supply chain decisions made way above the lab, not necessarily what loyal customers are actually asking for. Number 8, Better Than Sex, still popular, but a lot of the original fans say it's just not quite the same tube it used to be. Number 7, MAC Ruby Woo. Here's a scenario. MAC's Ruby Woo has been the go-to red lipstick for literal decades, sitting around $21, and it built its cult status on that specific matte finish that somehow managed to be bold without drying your lips out completely. Over the years, longtime MAC customers have documented a shift in a lot of the brand's matte lipstick formulas, describing them as drier or more prone to settling into lip lines compared to versions from years back. And this kind of complaint shows up repeatedly across beauty forums and long-running review threads. MAC belongs to Estée Lauder too, same as Too Faced, and it's one of the crown jewels of that entire portfolio, which honestly makes the reformulation complaints sting even more. Because this isn't some small brand cutting corners out of necessity. It's one of the biggest names in prestige makeup. Number 7, Ruby Woo, still iconic, but plenty of longtime fans swear the texture used to feel noticeably different. Number 6, Urban Decay Naked Palette. All right, picture the original Naked palette, the one that basically launched an entire neutral eyeshadow category back in 2010, running around $54, and became the palette every other brand tried to copy for the next decade straight. Longtime users have reported that certain shades in later production runs feel chalkier or apply less smoothly than the earlier versions did, with some shadows needing noticeably more product buildup to get the same payoff people remember from years ago. And this has been a recurring topic in online beauty communities for a while now. Urban Decay is owned by L'Oreal, which bought the brand back in 2012 for an estimated $350 million, and L'Oreal also owns Maybelline and NYX, so there's a whole ecosystem of shared research and manufacturing happening behind the scenes that can absolutely affect how a formula performs over time. Number 6, the Naked palette, still a bestseller, but a genuinely large chunk of the original fan base says the pigment just isn't hitting the same anymore. Real quick before we keep going, if you're into this kind of breakdown, following what's actually changed behind the scenes with your favorite products, this is what we do here every single day. So subscribing just means you catch the next one. No pressure. Okay, let's keep this going. Number 5, Benefit, their Real mascara. Here's a scenario. Their Real built its whole reputation on that curved brush design that hooks every single lash, running around $28, and it held a spot as a Sephora bestseller for over a decade straight off that reputation alone. Some longtime users have reported the formula feeling a bit drier or flakier by the end of the day in more recent versions compared to earlier ones, a complaint that's shown up repeatedly in comment sections and beauty forums over the past several years, though plenty of newer customers still swear by it too, so opinions genuinely split here. Benefit is owned by LVMH, the same luxury conglomerate behind Louis Vuitton and Dior, and also the parent company of Sephora itself, which means the store recommending the mascara and the brand making it both report up to the same corporate ladder. Number 5, they're real, still a top seller, but a real portion of the original fan base says something's shifted. Number 4, NARS Orgasm. Blush, picture this, the single best-selling prestige blush in America for over 2 decades, that peachy pink shade with the fine gold shimmer, running around $38, and it's sold roughly once every minute somewhere in the country. A meaningful number of longtime fans have reported the formula feeling less finely milled than it used to, with some describing it as slightly more powdery or less blendable in newer compacts compared to versions from years ago, a complaint that pops up consistently across beauty forums and long-term review threads for this exact product. NARS was sold to the Japanese beauty giant Shiseido back in the year 2000, and while founder Francois NARS kept creative control, a product this iconic operating inside a massive global company often means manufacturing and sourcing decisions get made at a scale where small formula shifts can happen without much public explanation. Number 4, Orgasm Blush. The name alone still sells it, but longtime users say the texture used to feel noticeably smoother. Number 3, Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Lipstick. All right, here's a scenario. Pillow Talk built an entire cult following around one specific dusty rose shade, running around $40, and it became one of the most talked about lipsticks in prestige beauty almost overnight after its launch. Since then, longtime users have reported some formula and packaging adjustments across the line, feeling different in wear time and pigment intensity compared to earlier releases, a topic that's come up repeatedly in beauty discussion spaces as the brand expanded the Pillow Talk franchise into more finishes and product types. Charlotte Tilbury is owned by Puig, the Spanish luxury conglomerate also behind Rabanne and Jean Paul Gaultier fragrances, and as that brand's product lineup has ballooned in size over the past few years, keeping every single formula perfectly consistent across dozens of new launches gets genuinely harder. Number 3, Pillow Talk. Still a phenomenon, but some of the earliest fans say the very first version hit differently. Number 2, KVD Beauty Tattoo Liner. Here's a scenario. This liquid eyeliner built its entire reputation on being genuinely waterproof and smudge-proof, the kind of product makeup artists trusted for full 12-hour days, running around $22, and it drove a huge chunk of the brand's roughly $150 million peak in annual sales. After the brand dropped founder Kat Von D's name and rebranded first to KVD Vegan Beauty, then to plain KVD Beauty, a wave of longtime customers reported the reformulated liner feeling different, some describing more smudging or fading compared to the original version they'd used for years, complaints that showed up consistently during that rebranding period. The brand belongs to Kendo, the beauty incubator owned by LVMH, and after years of declining revenue following those changes, Kendo actually sold KVD Beauty entirely in September of 2025 to a private equity firm called Winsong Global, which is now reportedly cutting the product range down dramatically and betting the whole company on that original eyeliner again. Number 2, Tattoo Liner, a genuine cautionary tale about what happens when a beloved formula changes alongside everything else about a brand at once. Number 1, Chanel Vitalumiere Foundation. Okay, number 1, and this is honestly the one that gets luxury beauty circles genuinely heated. Chanel's foundations have gone through several formula updates over the years, and Vitalumiere specifically, running well over $60, has seen longtime customers report the newer versions oxidizing differently or feeling less breathable on skin compared to formulas from years back. This kind of complaint carries extra weight with Chanel specifically because the brand's entire identity is built on consistency and craftsmanship. That's genuinely the whole premise behind paying luxury prices in the first place. So when longtime loyalists feel a formula shift, it lands differently than it would with a mass brand. Chanel has remained a privately held, family-controlled company this entire time. Unlike almost every other brand on this list, no LVMH, no Estee Lauder, no private equity fund pulling strings, which honestly makes the reformulation complaints even more interesting because there's no obvious portfolio-wide cost-cutting explanation sitting behind it the way there is with the others. Number 1. Vita Lumiere, proof that even the most independent, tightly controlled luxury house in beauty isn't immune to a formula shift that leaves longtime fans feeling like something's just a little bit off. All right, so let's run it all the way back. Number 8 was Too Faced's Better Than Sex. Mascara, thicker and clumpier according to longtime fans. Number 7 was MAC's Ruby Woo, drier than the version people remember. Number 6 was Urban Decay's Naked Palette, chalkier pigment in later shadows. Number 5 was Benefit's Their Real Mascara, flakier by the end of the day for some users. Number 4 was NARS Orgasm Blush, less finely milled than the original. Number 3 was Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk, inconsistent across its ballooning product line. Number 2 was KVD Beauty's Tattoo Liner, changed formula tangled up with a whole rebrand. And number 1, Chanel's Vita Lumiere, proof that even total independence doesn't guarantee consistency forever. Here's my honest takeaway, y'all. Reformulation isn't automatically a scandal. Sometimes brands genuinely improve a formula, but when a company quietly changes something you've trusted for years without telling you, and a huge chunk of loyal customers notice the same shift independently, that's worth paying attention to before you keep repurchasing out of habit. Tell me in the comments, has a luxury product you loved ever suddenly felt different to you, and which one hit the hardest? Because I read every single comment down there. If this was useful, go ahead and subscribe, because tomorrow we're flipping this completely. 8 drugstore products that actually got better after a reformulation, and a couple of them might genuinely surprise you. Thanks for watching DupeAudit. Catch y'all in the next video.